Hello, good day. So we're done with the exempt sales of goods or properties. Now we may now proceed on the exempt sales of services. No, of course this is in detail. So the mnemonic for this list of exempt sales for services are isa na pala ito, is to search to VAT trips. No, so this one. Yan, of course, we're in. Uh, the first letter it relates about schools, no? So sinasabi lang naman dyan na educational services rendered by, of course, a private educational institution duly accredited by the Department of Education, TESDA, CHED, of course, as long as they are accredited by these following government agencies, of course, we could say that they are exempted on the business taxes and also government educational institution. No? So sinasabi lang din dito, considering that education is a necessity, the law exempt school fees from business taxes. This exemption covers government and private schools, proprietary non-profit, so long as they have the required accreditation from the government. Of course, the only services being exempted to the business tax is educational services. If uh, such an institution covers other than educational services, no, such as not accredited by the DepEd, CHED, or TESTA, such as seminars, in-service trainings, review classes, or other civil services, of course, they are subject to business tax. No? So, ganun lang naman siya. So, we could say that uh, if we're talking about the courses or colleges, ibig sabihin yung basic education for DepEd, for courses, no, for CHED, and also uh, as long as the vocational courses are credited kay TESDA, of course, those are exempted from business taxes. However, if such institutions offer other services, which is papasok dito sa seminars, service trainings, review class, other similar services, and also not accredited by those government agencies, therefore, these services offered are also taxable, no? Taxable, meaning they are subject to business taxes. So basic lang naman siya, no? Sige, sample tayo para mas madali. Hebron College, private college accredited by CHED, reported 2 million received from tuition fees during the month. Hebron also reported 100,000 rental income. So as you can see, only 2 million is exempted. However, if we're talking about the rental income from the building being rented by commercial tenants, that is subject to business tax. Okay. Listation number 2, Top Notch Pampanga, an accredited continuing professional education provider, provides professional seminars and accreditation. No. So since this one is Top Notch Pampanga, so it is more on CPE or continuing professional education provider. So we could say that this is not uh, accredited by the three government agencies. No, those are of course TESDA, CHED, and DepEd. However, since we're talking about the professional educational provider. This could be accredited by the PRC o Professional Regulatory Commission, no? So para makapag-renew ng license yung mga uh, licensed professional. So if that's the case, since PRC is not included on the list of government agencies wherein institution must be accredited upon, therefore, um, Top-Notch Pampanga is subject sa business tax, yung mga services na ino-offer nila. So, ganun lang naman siya kadali. So, of course, kailangan papasok dun sa tatlo. We have the CHED, DepEd, and TESDA. No? And of course, the services being offered must be accredited to these three government institutions, of either of them, no? So, ayun lang yung letter S sa ating mnemonics na search, VAT, trips, wherein it is letter E which pertains to employment. Tama, no? Okay. So, last chapter, we already discussed this, that employment is not business. Therefore, if this is not business, therefore, that there's no tax being imposed. No? So, sabi lang naman dito, services performed by individuals in pursuant to an employer and employer relationship. The provision of services to an employer under the employer relationship is not a business. So, alam natin yan. Ang pagiging empleyado ay hindi pagnenegosyo. Therefore, it is exempt from business taxes. Okay. However, if we're talking about professional practices, consultants, talents, TV artists, brokers, and agents, these are not considered as employees. Therefore, they are subject to business taxes. Okay. So usually, if professionals are mixed income earners, meaning aside from their employment is meron nag-client din sila, of course, income related to their clients, of course that is only subject to business tax. If uh, however the income received from their employer, of course that is only exempted for business tax, but it doesn't mean that it does not part of the income tax. Of course, income tax is different from business tax. For employment, exempt sa business tax, but of course for income tax is still subject, no? So baka medyo naguluhan kayo doon, no, since we're talking only about business tax. So kapag employment, exempted. Okay. Sige. Illustration 1. Aljon, an audit practitioner and a part-time teacher earn the following. The compensation income is 1.8. Receipts from audit client is 1.2 million. Of course, so compensation income, this is doon sa pagiging academia, pagiging part-time teacher. And of course, yung audit clients, this one is yung kanyang professional services, no? So, sasabi lang naman dyan that itong 1.8 na kinita niya, this is exempted, no? So, basic lang naman. And of course, itong 1.8 is subject sa business tax. So, ganyan naman siya kadali. Illustration number 2, Dr. Alma Saranas arranged with a hospital to accept his clients. He entertains clients in the hospital. The hospital shall bill his professional fees in the name of the hospital. The hospital repays Dr. Saranas his professional fees less hospital accommodation charges. So, sinasabi lang naman din daw that the professional fees are not compensation income, which is tama naman, and are therefore subject to business tax. Furthermore, medical practitioners are not allowed to claim exemption under the cloak of hospital service exemption. Galing, no? Galing ng batas, no? Of course, ang gusto ng batas na mas lalong lumaki yung kinikita nila. So, kahit yung doktor, ginamit yung pangalan ng ah, ng hospital for the sake na sabihin na there is employee-employer relationship is still hindi pinapayagan ng batas yun. Sinasabi nga dito na medical practitioners are not allowed to claim exemption under the cloak of the hospital service exemption. So, mautak, no? Of course, director fees, wherein we also discuss it last chapter that a directorship are not considered as professional services. Therefore, and also this one is exempted, no, sa business tax, no. So previously under the uh, RMC 34-08, subject in sa business tax dati, ha, baka maano kayo, malito. Of course, after some time, the BIR made reversal, so binaligtad, no, itong RMC 34-08, binaligtad siya, no. So naging RMC 77/2008. Ibig sabihin, yung rules na dati subject in sa business tax ay binalang bisa na. So tinanggal na yung business tax applicable for directorship. Sinasabi that director fees are not earned in the ordinary course of business, pointing among others do not arise from undertaking that is intended to be pursued in the course of business. So, hindi daw kinita ang directors in the ordinary course of business. Sinasabi din daw sa RMC 77/2008 para daw maging engaged in business or trade, kailangan daw ma-meet yung following criterias, wherein continuity activity ongoing concern basis, objective to earn unrestricted amount of pecuniary gains, unrestricted offering of the goods or services to customer or clients. So, going concern basis, alam naman natin, ang pagiging director is walang kasiguradahan. No, every year, maaaring mapalitan. No, and also unrestricted amounts of pecuniary gains or profits. So, limited lang yung kinikita na director usually is per dime, and also kung meron naman silang additional fees, of course limited lang, but of course medyo malaki pero hindi siya medyo malaki, of course, no. Unrestricted offering of the goods or service to any customer or client. So alam naman natin that being director, hindi naman sila nag-o-offer ng services, no, sa customer or clients. It could be doon sa mismong business, but of course hindi naman natin masasabi na meron silang seller and customer relationship. Okay, so therefore that's the case, we could say that directorship is not business tax, therefore exempted sa business taxes. Okay, so the third letter for our mnemonics search to bad trips, of course, is letter A, which pertains to agricultural contract growers and millers, no. Yan. So, of course, title suggests it is only applicable for those entities who provide services for growers and millers. Growers and millers lang, no? Sige. Services by agricultural contract growers and millers for others of palay into rice, corn into grits, and sugarcane into raw sugar. Agricultural contract growers refers to persons producing for others poultry, livestock, other agricultural and marine food products in their original state. No? So, basic lang naman din. Of course, growers, ito yung silang bahala magpalago ng iyong mga agricultural items. How about millers? Ito yung pagtatanggal ng sapal doon sa mismong agricultural product, no? Sige. Sige, illustration number 1. John was contracted by Pure Pork, a distributor of pork and chicken meat products diba? To raise hogs and chicken. John shall be paid a fixed contract price for the undertaking. John is agricultural contract grower. Therefore, the contract price received by John, yung nagpo-provide ng service, from Pure Pork, of course, is exempted from business tax. Okay? So, basic lang naman. Illustration number 2. Cordillera Milling Company. Milling, ha? So, of course, we could say that this is a miller. Provide milling services, no, to their clients. Offer a variety of milling services ranging from palay, corn, canes, and gold ore. So, hindi lang lahat food. Even yung mga golds, no, is they also provide milling services wherein the total receipts ay speaking of, since we're talking about services, no, the basis for tax for this is of course receipts, no, receipts, not sales. So kung magkano yung na-receive ni or na-kolekta ni entity, ayun yung subject sa mismong business tax, ha. Receipts, ha, we're talking about receipts with ayan. Sige. So, palay and corn milling so 600,000. Sugar milling, okay, and 400 is X. No? So, therefore, 600, 200 are exempted for business taxes. However, for all bulk mailing fees, they are taxable. No? So, ganun lang naman siya kadali. Illustration 1, Horacio Company is a general agricultural contractor. It had the following receipts during the month. So, agricultural contractor tendencies are not limited to milling and growing. So, check natin, no? Check natin. So, rice and corn milling fees, of course, that is exempted. Construction of fees, installation fee, installation, cultivation, of course, hindi. Installation fee, of course. Only the rice milling, therefore, 170 is only exempted among the receipts company. However, the different items aside from rice and corn milling fees, that is taxable, no? Sige. Yan. Of course, proceed tayo for the next item, and that is of course letter R under the mnemonic search. Search 2, wherein dalawa yung H, VAT, trips, of course. And that is letter H. Letter R pa lang tayo. Letter R. Of course, residential leasing. So, sinasabi lang naman dito na lease of residential unit with monthly rental not exceeding 15,000. So, may threshold na naman tayo, meaning if more than 50,000, that is taxable, no? However, if 15,000 or less, that is exempted sa business tax, okay? Sige, sinasabi, residential units, highlight natin, kulay blue para maganda. Residential units refers to apartments and houses and lots used for residential purposes. Building or parts or units thereof used as dwelling places such as dormitories, rooms, bed spaces, except models, motels, hotel rooms, lodging houses, inns, and pension houses. So, of course, that is residential units. The term unit shall mean for an it is an apartment unit for apartment, a house for residential houses. Per person, if we're talking about dormitories, boarding houses, or bed spaces per room if ang pinapaupahan ay mga kwarto. Okay? The apparent purpose of this exemption is to provide tax incentive for keeping the rentals of housing low, considering that the housing is a necessary and natural human consumption. Okay? So, basic lang naman. Cohen Homes is a real property lessor with the following properties and receipts. Okay, services. So we're talking about receipts, no? Sige. Of course, titingnan na muna natin. First consideration natin is yung magkano ba yung monthly rental, no? Monthly rental. Wherein sinasabi dito that among this, of course, apply muna natin yung 15,000 threshold. Only this one is taxable, but for this is exempted, no? Exempt. Okay? Because of course the 12,500 and 2,000 are less than our threshold of 15,000, therefore they are exempted, no? Okay, of course, since these are exempted, they are not subject to business tax or as a value added tax or the percentage tax. However, since this one is the only taxable is 480,000, meaning they are subject to the business tax, and that is percentage tax, 3% percentage tax. So, ayun naman sinasabi dito sa baba. No? Illustration number 2, tungkol kay Alpine Residence. This is a real property lessor with the following properties. First, consideration natin yung 15K threshold. Among this, of course, 20,000 is the only taxable. However, 20,000 is taxable as well as 16,000. However, 15,000, since hindi siya lumagpas, therefore that is exempted. Okay? So, for 5,400, of course, this is exempted. However, for this, 2.4 and 2.3, so sinabing annualize, ayan na yung buong taon. Yung per unit rental, that is only per month. Yung annualize, ito na yung minultiply by 12. No? So, for Class A and Class B residences, no, they are subject sa business tax. Since lumagpas yan sa 3 million threshold, therefore, ang tax applicable for them ay value added tax. So, ganun lang naman siya kasimple. General Travel Lodge has 200 rooms with average occupancy of 24 days a month. Kung mapapansin nyo, 2,000 for each day of stay. It earns 320,000 average monthly fees. Since hotel inns, lodges are not considered as residential dwelling, therefore that is subject sa business tax, no? So sinabi nga dito, highlight lang natin, no? Sinabi kasi dito na except motels, motel rooms, hotel rooms, lodging houses, inns, pension houses, they are not considered as residential units, therefore they are not exempted, no? So, ganun lang naman siya. Sige, sale of services, tapusin na natin. So, for next item, of course, that is letter C, no? Letter C, which also pertains to cooperative. So, same with this exempt sales of goods or exemptions of goods or properties, receipts from services, of course, same concept with the cooperatives, but of course, if it's related or non-related, if related, that is could be exempted. However, pag non-related is still taxable, no? So, basic lang naman din yan. Sige, isabay na natin yung health or hospital services, no? So, health or hospital services, ito yung first each ng ating mnemonics: medical, dental, hospital, veterinary services, except those rendered by professional, sale of drugs, hospital stores, no? So, the sale of the above services is not subject to business tax. This rule applies to all health services, whether rendered by private, non-profit, or government hospital. Health services rendered by professionals and the sale of drugs are vatable. No, sinasabi if the hospital provided that services, of course that is exempted. However, if the services being provided by the professionals, doctors, surgeons, and other specialized doctors, that is that is vatable. No? So, yun lang naman. So, illustration, proceed na tayo. No? Bethany Hospital, private hospital, had the following receipts and sales during a month. No? Sige. So, sinasabi lang naman din dyan na patient service revenue, of course, that is exempted sa business tax. No? Kasi services being provided yan by hospital. Inpatient sales, of course, it is part of the services of the hospital. No? However, for outpatient sales, of course, ito na yung sinasabi natin na part ng midterm examination nyo, no? And since this is outpatient sales, so hindi na natin siya pwede sabihin that is services anymore. So, we're talking about na doon sa exemption related sa goods or properties, anti-diabetes and hypertension, of course, that is exempted, no? That is part ng of course, dyan, part yan ng exempt goods under the medicines related to hypertension, diabetes, and high cholesterol. No? So, hinanap ko pa kung saan siya part. So, doon pala siya sa exempt goods. No? Other medicines, of course, hindi naman in-specify ko anong klaseng medicines yan. Therefore, that is taxable, no? Check-up fees, so kung mapapansin nyo, this is still being provided by the hospital, therefore, this is exempted, no? So, of course, check-up fees is different from the professional fee, no? So, kapag meron kayong nagpa-consult kayo with the doctors, and of course need to undergo certain tests, no? Of course, tests are exempted. However, yung professional fee doon ay yun yung subject sa business tax, no? Sige, ganoon lang naman siya din. Rent income on clinic space list to doctors. Of course, the rent income is not part doon sa primary purpose na provide ni hospital, therefore siya ay hindi exempted. That's subject siya sa business tax, no? Of course, laboratory services, that is exempted. So that's it. So yun lang naman. Sige, homeowners, diretso na tayo sa the last H, which is yung homeowners association or condominium corporation. So, sinasabi lang naman yan na based doon sa train law, no? Yung association dues, membership fees, and other assessment and charges collected by homeowners association condominiums on a purely reimbursement basis ay exempted daw sa business tax in the absence of profit-seeking motive as proven by the reimbursement type assessment of its members. The homeowners so cannot be said to be. However, if it's being operated as if it sells its services to its members from which it derives a markup and profit, then it is taxable business. So, madali lang naman, di ba? So, if the fees is reimbursable, ibig sabihin after some time binabalik o nire-reimburse ni the homeowners association or condominium yung fees related sa membership, assessment, and other charges collected, of course, that is exempted. Ang purpose is there is an absence of a profit-seeking motive. Siyempre naman, no? So, kung ibabalik naman din, ibig sabihin, hindi ang purpose is hindi para kumita. So kung ano lang yung ginastos ng corporation or owners association, that is only limited. Yung charges is only limited for that. However, if sumobra yung binayaran ng tenants or ng members ng homeowners association, of course, ibabalik. Therefore, if reimbursable, exempted. Pag hindi, taxable. No? So basic lang naman. With of course the second word sa ating mnemonics, di ba we have this search to the trip. So nandito na tayo sa second word which means VA pertains to vessels and aircrafts, no? So okay. Sige. So, similar with the import and sales. So, alam naman natin, di ba, if nag-import tayo ng passenger or cargo vessels and aircrafts, that is exempted. Also, kapag nagkaroon tayo ng domestic sales related sa passenger or cargo vessels or aircraft, that is also exempted. So, same with the services, if pinapaupahan yung passenger or cargo vessels or aircrafts, including the equipment and spare parts thereof, of course, that is also exempted sa business tax. Okay? So, of course, kaya siya naging services kasi pinapaupahan. Okay? Sige. So, illustration, the XY, enterprise imports, sells, and leases air and water crafts. During the quarter, it had the following transactions. Of course, since sinabi naman sa problem, no, that these items are either air and water aircrafts, of course, pasok na kagad dyan dito sa ating vessels or aircrafts, no? So, wala dyang land vehicle. Lahat dyan either vessels or aircraft. So, yung tanker, so akala ko din ito rin yung pang military tanks. May gulong dito, tapos may ganyan, tapos may ganon. So, akala ko yun din yun. So, kapag sinush nyo yan sa internet, of course, isang malaking barko din yan. Same with this one. Okay. Yun lang naman yung medyo dyan, confusing. No? Sige. So, of course, the first consideration natin is kailangan identify natin kung anong klase siyang type of vehicle, other land, vessel, or aircraft, no? In this problem, of course, identify na natin na these items ay walang land vehicle dyan, either vessel lang yan or aircraft. So tapos na tayo with the first consideration. Second consideration natin, that craft ba is for passenger or cargo, no? So kapag yes, that is exempted. Kapag no, that is taxable. Okay? Sige, ganun na naman siya kadali. So of course, yung yate, of course, that is not for passenger or cargo, therefore that is vatable. Itong tango, isa siyang malaking barko na makikita mo na not sure kung pang passenger ba yun or cargo, pero most probably either lang naman yun sa dalawa, therefore exempted together with the roll of boat. Yung fishing boat, that is of course a purpose din is para mangisda and not for passenger or cargo, therefore that is taxable. Cargo plane, so title itself ang cargo, that is exempted. Of course, private jets, that is not for passenger and not for cargo, therefore taxable. So ganun lang naman siya. So consideration, kailangan type of vehicle, kailangan vessel or aircraft lang. Second is dapat for passenger or cargo. If ang sagot mo dyan sa dalawang considerations natin ay parehas na yes, of course, that is exempted. However, kung isa dyan is magno-no ka, that is taxable. No? So, ganoon lang naman kadali yung this item. Sige. Okay, so proceed na tayo with the last word, no, for our mnemonics, and that is of course trips, no. So letter T, of course, that is treaty. So same with the letter T on our mnemonics on sale, exempt sales of goods or properties. The letter T on that mnemonics is also treaty. So same concept. If the service provider of services is exempted based on special laws or tax treaties, of course that is also exempted, no, to business taxes. So same concept lang naman with the exempt sales of goods or exempt goods or properties, no. Sige, proceed na tayo with the regional area headquarter of a multinational company. So, of course, if it's ARA, that is exempted. If it's RO, that is taxable. No? So, ganito lang yan. So, regional area headquarter of multinational company. Of course, this the services rendered by regional or area headquarters established in Philippines by which are act as supervisory communication and coordinating centers for their affiliate subsidiaries in the Asia Pacific do not or derive income from the Philippines. So, it is expected that the regional area headquarters of a multinational company is not income setter, or it they not provide income to the company. No, sinasabi na walang source of income, meaning they are not generating income generating unit ng company or ng multinational company. Ibig sabihin walang source of income. So they are most probably incur expenses. So paano nila natutugunan yung pangangailangan nila? Simple, the other affiliates or the other company under the same umbrella of the multinational company provide subsidies in order to defray the necessary expenses of the regional area headquarters of that company, no? So, ganun lang siya. So, ibig sabihin, no operation at all. Ibig sabihin, walang source of income, no? I mean, no operation as to generating income. Okay? But of course, the only services being provided by them is limited only to supervisory or communication among the affiliates of the multinational company. So, ayun yung purpose niya. More on expenses lang na i-incur. Okay? However, if we're talking about regional operating headquarters, ibig sabihin, it is expected that such regional headquarter generates income on itself, no? Therefore, such services being provided is taxable, meaning subject sa business tax. So, ayun naman yung differences yan. So, ako personally during my undergrad, ang inaalam ko lang is yung definition, and kapag alam ko operating, so laging iniisip na income generating, meron yung operation. Kumbaga sa factory, diba, pag sinabing may operation, ibig sabihin, nagmamanufacture sila. So, ganun lang yung concept ko with Dara and Ro. Kapag operating, that is taxable. Kapag hindi, area lang siya, that is exempted. No? Sige. Basahin nyo na yung illustration 1 and illustration 2. Sinasabi lang naman din yan na yung illustration 1 that is exempted. However, yung illustration 2, since nagbebenta na ng research output to their affiliates, of course, that is taxable na. So, ganun lang naman siya. So, we're done with the treaty and also the regional area headquarters of a multinational company. Okay, pag-usapan natin, of course, international carriers. Of course, as I sabi, the transport of passengers, no? Transport of passengers, of course, yung nakaload, pwede diyang hindi passengers or pwede cargo, no? And also, sinasabi rin dito yung international carriers, okay? The receipts from the transport of passengers, so nakabold na siya, by international carriers originating from Philippines, going abroad, so outgoing yan, no? Ibig sabihin, galing sa Pilipinas, sinakay sa Pilipinas, papunta sa ibang bansa, is exempt from business tax. Okay? International carriers are air carriers, shipping carriers owned by resident foreign corporation. So, ang pinaka-company is originating from other countries and bumagsak lang dito or nagbaba lang dito or sakay lang dito ng pasahero papunta sa bansa nila, no? So, therefore, such transaction is exempted sa business tax. Okay, illustration 1, Singapore Airlines, international carrier, had the following receipts during a month, no? Outgoing flights, incoming flights, of course, tulad ng sinabi natin, only the exemption is only limited for passengers, right? And of course, we're talking about outgoing. So therefore, the 32 million derived from passengers and outgoing flights is exempted. However, for 41,000, since this one is incoming flights, this is a foreign consumption, still this is exempted sa business tax since foreign consumption. However, for cargos which is not included or not part of this chapter, and we will discuss it on the next chapter, chapter 5. For outgoing flights, the 7,000 is subject to specific percentage tax. However, the 18 million, the incoming flights, that is still foreign consumption, therefore exempted. No? So, ganun lang naman siya. Illustration number 2, JDC Airlines. So, domestic carrier ito, ha? Hindi international. Therefore, hindi ito yung part na nasa exemption. But of course, pag-usapan pa rin natin, ay nakareceive doon ng 20 million receipts from outgoing flights, 10 million incoming flights, and 90 million domestic flight during the month. So, outgoing flights, so parang same concept with exportation, no? From Philippines outside the country. Therefore, this is zero rated VAT. However, incoming flights from other countries papunta dito sa Pilipinas, since the consumption is being made already, or the collection made already outside the Philippines, therefore this is considered as foreign consumption, therefore that is exempted sa business tax. However, for domestic flights, ibig sabihin from Manila to Cebu or Manila to other part of the Philippines or vice versa, ibig sabihin from other provinces or location as long as within the Philippines papunta Manila and other places within the Philippines, of course, that is subject sa 12% VAT. No? Okay. Sige, yun lang naman siya. So, to help you, for your convenience, of course, magmawa ulit tayo ng tables carriers. We have the local and international carriers. For international carriers, so alamin na muna natin if it's cargo or passenger. And of course, each of them is merong incoming and outgoing, no? For cargo, kapag outgoing, that is percentage tax, subject to specific percentage tax. For cargo, incoming, no, that is foreign consumption, therefore exempted. For the passenger, kapag incoming, of course, that is still foreign consumption, therefore exempted. However, for outgoing, no, is still exempted. However, for local carriers, for cargo, to be discussed on our next chapters na lang siya. For passengers, of course, kapag incoming, ibig sabihin, pag nanggaling sa ibang bansa papuntang Pilipinas, that is foreign consumption, therefore exempt. Outgoing, papuntang ibang bansa. Same concept with the exportation, therefore subject to zero rated VAT. For domestic, from one point of place within the Philippines to another part of the Philippines, that is subject to 12% VAT. Why 12% VAT, hindi siya percentage tax? Because it is presumed, of course, that these airlines, no, these carriers already uh, exceeding the 3 million thresholds, di ba? So, magkano naman kasi yung isang aeroplano? Hindi naman less than 3 million. So, expected na lahat ng carriers ay vatable, no? Kaya hindi na natin sinama rito yung percentage tax. Okay? So, that's it for the transport of passengers by international carriers. Okay, so we are now to the last two items of our exemption for, of course, services. No, the and of course we're talking about the letter, which means printers and publishers. Of course, these entities provide services, no, by printing or publishing certain books, newspaper, magazines, bulletins, etc., etc. So the only difference between the exempt sales for goods or properties is the object of consumption is newspaper. Even even the seller is not printer or publishers, they still the transaction is still exempted sa business tax because the object of consumption is newspaper, magazines, etc., etc. However, uh, for this part, no, we're talking about the seller is publisher and printer. Same concept with the exempt sale of goods, no? Because sinasabi lang naman daw na as long as the printing or publication appears at regular intervals with a fixed price for subscription and sale, which is not devoted principally to the publication of paid advertisement, is exempted. Now, illustration 1, Cordillera Courier publishes a weekly newspaper during the month and have the following receipts. Of course, it is limited only to the sale of newspaper, meaning only the sale of newspaper is exempt. However, for advertisement and rent from leases of vacant spaces, these are not the primary purpose why nagtayo sila ng publishing company. Therefore, the 350,000 ay subject sa business tax. Okay, illustration number 2, Baguio Printing Press ay nakakolekta daw from their printing service ng books, newspaper, tarpaulins, and campaign ads. So, kung mapapansin nyo, the tarpaulins and campaign ads, that is subject sa business tax. However, for books and newspapers, that is exempted. Tarpaulins and campaign ads taxable. Okay. Illustration number 3, Jet Bookstore reported the following sales during the month. Sale of book inventories. Of course, that is exempted. Commission income from book publishing, of course, that is not exempted, no, sa business tax. Therefore, because that is considered as commission income, therefore that is vatable. So ganoon lang naman siya. So limited lang talaga yung pagbebenta sa printing, sa newspaper, magazine, review, bulletin, no, as long as it is not devoted to paid advertisement, therefore that is exempted, no? So basic lang naman din siya. And of course, sabay na natin, no, yung last part. Okay, so for the last item of our exempt sales, for services is the senior citizens and persons with disability. So almost same with the exempt sales of goods or properties. The only difference is the object of consumption for this particular part is the services. And also, ang kinaganda is you don't need to identify the difference between the two because both the senior citizens and persons with disability, as long as the services are included on the list here, of course, that is exempted. Of course, number one is lodging establishment. So, kasama rito yung apartment, dormitory, motorist, hotel, tourism, in pension house. No? Okay. Second is hospital and clinic. So, the moment na they receive services, they acquire services from hospitals and clinics, such services received is exempted sa business tax. Sports and recreational centers, if nagpa-member sila, of course, such membership is exempted. No? Yoga, gym, no? So, yun, exempted yun sa value-added tax or percentage tax. Number 4, restaurants such as eating places often regular or special menus to the public. So, kinaganda, no? Pag restaurants, if you are senior citizens and persons with disabilities, walang value-added tax. Land, air, and sea travel, ibig sabihin, kapag nag-travel sila, they are not subject sa business tax. Diba? Sa LRT, no? Exempted sila sa value-added tax. And of course, meron pa silang discount na 20%. Medical, dental, diagnostic, and laboratory fees, professional medical fees, they are exempted. No? Funeral and burial services for the burial of senior citizens, of course. Oh, this one is limited lang sa senior citizens. So, explicit naman siya sinabi. Sige. Illustration number 1. A medical doctor had the following clients and gross service fee. Of course, senior citizens and persons with disability, the transactions being made to them are exempted sa business tax. However, for minor and adult patient, still taxable. Illustration number 2. TL Selection, an unregistered seller of roast decided to add a small pieces for dine-in. So, since meron na yan dine-in, it is expected that is no longer just selling or trading goods, but this is now considered as a service, no? Therefore, papasok na siya dito sa exempt sale for services. Either the following receipts and sales for the month. Senior citizens, of course, that is exempted, whether dine-in or take-out. Persons with disability, of course, exempted din yan. However, for other customers, the dine-in is, of course, okay. Since, of course, the object of our transaction is roasted chicken, of course, for dine-in receipts, no? Since this one is service na, no? For dine-in ka pa magda-dine-in ka, yung roasted chicken, since kinain mo siya within the vicinity of the restaurant, kahit roasted chicken yan, that is still vatable. However, kung tinake out mo lang siya, so doon siya papasok as exempt sale of goods or properties. And we all know that roasted chicken is exempt sale, no? Kasi papasok siya doon sa agricultural or marine food products in the original state, wherein roasting is considered as simple processing. Therefore, the roasted chicken is exempt sale. So, malinaw yun, ha? Dito kasi sa dine-in, it is considered as services. Therefore, providing services to other people, even the object of the consumption is roasted chicken, is still taxable. No? Malinaw naman yun. Illustration number 3. A senior citizen presented a senior citizen when paying the funeral expenses of his deceased grandchildren. No? The VAT exemption including the senior citizen discount can be claimed for the burial of the senior citizen. Okay. So, of course, ang namatay kasi is yung apo niya. So, kahit mag-present pa siya ng senior citizen ID, since the subject or ang makaka-receive ng services is hindi yung senior citizen, therefore, walang exemption na magaganap. Illustration number 4. A beautiful young lady is presenting a senior citizen ID for the purchase of food for herself and her friends. So, sinasabi lang daw na kailangan ang makaka-receive ng services is a senior citizen. Therefore, the transaction is vatable. No? So, basahin nyo na lang to. Is the sale to senior citizen person subject to percentage tax and recording of sale. So, basahin nyo na lang yan. So, goods na tayo dyan, ha? Sige, that would be all for chapter 4. So, kaya nyo na yan. Basa-basa na lang yan.